Hi everyone, TARDIS Guy 123 here, and before I start this review today, I'd like to just say that I am now on 50 subscribers, and I want to thank each and every one of you for getting me to that milestone. It really does mean a lot to me, and you know, I know there are people on far more than that, but still, 50, it does mean a lot to me. I'm not sure if I ever thought I'd get this far, so I'd just like to say thank you, each and every one of you, for that. And on to 100, I guess, hopefully. You know, you never know, but anyway, now that's my message for that. I'm not going to do anything too special for it because it's not too big of a milestone, you know, but I'm just going to continue on as I normally would. So on to the review of State of Decay. So it's the second part of the Space Trilogy, and it's a story by Terrence Dicks. You know, it was originally going to be the start of season 15, I think, yeah, with Tom Baker and Louise Jameson as the Doctor and Leela. But you know, apparently there was a high-profile Dracula thing going on at the BBC, and they didn't really want to undermine that with a Doctor Who story about vampires, so it was scrapped and replaced with Horror of Fang Rock, which is a very good story. So you know, it's kind of glad that happened, but you know, it ended up being reborn as part of the Space Trilogy as State of Decay. I think the original script was called The Vampire Mutations or something like that. So yeah, anyway, you know, it was brought back here for the Space Trilogy, and it works quite well within that, I feel. You know, it does kind of lack in the Adric side of things, you know, after him being introduced in Full Circle. You know, he does kind of get taken out of this bit. Maybe it's because it was originally written for one Doctor and one companion, and you know, having a second companion thrown in there, and of course K9 as well. He takes a backseat for this story too, but that's nothing all too surprising, as a lot of K9's stories he does disappear into the background a lot. But you know, anyway, the story itself, State of Decay, is a very enjoyable one, definitely. You know, it's quite dark in places as well. It's probably the darkest story of the Space Trilogy, and you know, it's a real bloodbath actually, and there are quite a lot of interesting moments in it. You don't really see, well, you don't see any blood in the sense that it's coming out of people, but I guess you do kind of, because the bats bites, but that's only a little bit. But you do see tanks of blood, and you know, it does get under your skin a bit if you're kind of like sensitive to that kind of thing, like I am. I'm not kind of like overly sensitive to it, but it does kind of like give you a bit of goosebumps, I guess. And yeah, and then you have the Tom Baker in this, who does, you know, once again towards the end of his era, his performance isn't as powerful as it was in Full Circle, but you know, here it's not kind of like, he's not treating it like a joke. He is taking it very seriously still, and you definitely get that feeling coming across. So you know, good Tom Baker performance here. And Lala Ward, she does quite well too, I feel. You know, she gets to be scared a bit in this as well, which is quite interesting to see that side of her. You know, it's a side that doesn't come across all too often, you know, compared to some other companions, but it still comes across in here. Maybe that's just Terrence Dicks' writing, I don't know. But you know, it's very much a two-hander between the Doctor and Romana, whereas Full Circle was the Doctor and Adric for the most part, with Romana being written into the background. Here it's the Doctor and Romana together for a lot of it, you know, going all out in this story. However, Adric, as I mentioned before, does kind of take a backseat for this. He's only in like a couple of scenes for the middle two episodes, and you know, you get the feeling very much that Terrence Dicks didn't know what to do with him. And you know, he writes him as that artful dodger character, which he really wasn't. And it didn't help at all that this was the first story which Matthew Waterhouse performed. So it very much leaves that character and Matthew Waterhouse in quite a dire situation, unfortunately. You know, he could have done much better, I guess. But you know, given what he had to work with, you know, it's quite an unfortunate situation. Luckily, he isn't in it that much, so you know, he doesn't let the story down all too much, but still, you know, it's just unfortunate really. And there are quite a few scenes where Adric's just kind of like standing around doing nothing, and yeah, I feel that could have been handled a bit better, you know, maybe scheduling, so having Full Circle done first, I don't know, just something that should have been done about that. But, you know, it is as it is, and as it is, you know, there's not too much in the story, thankfully. So it works out quite well in that sense. And then, of course, you have the Three Who Rule. And you've kind of like got an interesting role reversal here. Because usually you'd have the hierarchy be the king, then the queen, then the councillor. But here, it's swapped around. You know, the councillor is very much the ruler here. And, you know, even though he's not really seen as it much, he's very much kind of like in the shadows and whatnot. And, you know, he's very much the main servant of the Great One. And then you have the queen, because she's very much pushing the king about a lot. She's kind of like saying, no, don't do that and whatnot, and complaining that the king's killed someone. She's very much in control of the king, I feel. So that's kind of like an interesting flip round of the hierarchy that you'd normally expect. So, you know, that's quite good on Terrence Dix's part. And then, of course, you have the angry villagers and whatnot living in the shadow of the castle and everything. You know, it's kind of like it's typical gothic horror stuff, really. And, you know, it's quite good for that. And, you know, gothic horror, something that kind of died out in Doctor Who when Philip Hinchcliffe left. You know, it came back for a bit with Image of Defendel, but here is its main revival in State of Decay. And, you know, I think State of Decay works very well for that. And so, yeah, I think that's all I've got to say on the gothic horror side of things. You also have the Time Lord mythology side of it, with kind of like vampires and whatnot, which is brought up again quite a few times. I think the Virgin Missing Adventures and the Virgin New Adventures did quite a few things with vampires, like goth opera, and there's another story which I can't remember the name of. But yeah, I think they did do quite a bit with that. But, you know, and also Big Finish have done a bit like in what's it called? Actually, I won't say which story it is, it might ruin it a bit. But there is some Fourth Doctor Adventure story which does very much, even though it's set before State of Decay, it does kind of ish reference State of Decay. So yeah, that's quite interesting. But, you know, the idea of kind of like having these great vampire creatures beforehand, you know, very much adds to Time Lord mythology and whatnot, with Rassilon and everything like that, having to create foe ships and whatnot. It's all quite clever the way that's formatted, and, you know, it's nice that it gets revealed later in the story rather than, you know, the Doctor having known it right at the start. And then K9, unfortunately, takes backseat as well in this. He does kind of show up towards the end, but very much he's stuck in the TARDIS for the most part. You know, talking to the Doctor while he's in there and whatnot. You know, overall, K9, not really given too much to do in the story. But the story doesn't suffer for it, and that's good. And also, have I mentioned the sets yet? The sets are very well done, I feel. You know, you almost get a medieval feel about it. Well, you do get a medieval feel about it, actually, not almost. You know, there's very medieval feel about it, but there's something off about it. And whatnot, you've got technology very nicely integrated into it. And Terrence Dicks creates a very good world here. Very believable world. You feel like you could live in this world. And I feel that's something that Terrence Dicks does very well in this story. You know, it's mainly a Robert Holmes trait, but, you know, Terrence Dicks obviously has done it quite well here too, so that's nice to have here. So overall, State of Decay is a very good story. You know, it does have its faults. You know, I feel the ending could have been handled a bit better. But, you know, overall, you know, some people complain about the realisation of the Great Vampire. I would say it could have been better, but, you know, could have been worse. It's kind of like that general thing. But anyway, oh yeah, and one more thing before I rate this story. Of course, I have the deaths of the vampires, and, you know, it's quite gruesome. Actually, it's quite a gruesome end to them, and, you know, it's almost surprising that they got past the censors with that. You know, I think someone would point something out about it, but no, it didn't, and it suits the story well, and it's a very nicely done effect when they kind of like, you know, smoke coming out of their mouths and whatnot as they turn to dust and bones and everything, and then crumple to pieces. You know, it's quite dark and quite gruesome, and overall fits the tone of the story very nicely. So, yeah, anyway, as I said, I rambled on enough now. Let's rate the story at a 8 out of 10, I'd say. You know, it could you know, there are some things that could have been done better, but for the most part, it's a very good story. So, yeah, and I'm not sure whether it's my favourite Deep Space trilogy or not. It's definitely between this and Full Circle, but, you know, anyway, later on we'll be reviewing Warrior's Gate, so that'll be an interesting review to look forward to. But, you know, for now, I have some other reviews coming up, such as the final part of Dark Eyes 3, which is, of course, Rule of the Eminence, so that should be out sometime next week. But anyway, as I said, thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you all next time. Bye everyone.